Hey everyone.
Okay. What's up, everyone? How is going? So welcome to this first 2025 Linea community call. We're super excited to have you here. So Gwen and myself will be co-hosting this call. Gwen, you want to quickly introduce yourself for the people that
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
know
that's
you
true. Yeah.
already?
So I recently joined the DevRel team at Linea. So yeah, happy to be working with Francesco and the DevRel team here. So yeah, basically what we're doing is we're producing content for you. We're hosting this community call. We're also organizing a super nice hackathon for you, like very soon. Which is it? I think yesterday, right? So there was the first announcement to it,
Yes.
and we will do a lot more this year. So very happy to be there. And if you have any question like docs, problem, and or anything, you can just DM me on Twitter or on Telegram, and we're very happy to answer you.
This is exciting. Nah, it's super exciting to have you here, Gwen. And I think we didn't plan this, but I think we have the same hoodie. I
Oh
think this
yeah,
is
that's
something
true.
that
Yeah,
really was not really happening for a long
yeah,
time.
that's
And
true.
but yeah, so excited. Yeah, excited to have everyone here. We have a bunch of people right now. We have a great kind of like lineup of speaker for our January kind of like Linea community call. So I'm Francesco. I'm also part of the DevRel team, and yeah, so today we're going through everything Linea. We have a lot of things to cover, so let's kind of like get it started. Quick introduction a little bit, and always like when feel free to all interrupt myself, like like if you have anything to say. And we're always keeping just for housekeeping. We're always keeping an eye to the comments. If you guys have any question, remarks, things that we should do and ask our panelists, we will try to get this done there. So in terms of our agenda, so we'll quickly intro a little bit like why we're doing those calls, why it's so important to have those calls. And then we also have Arthur and Niklas that actually will give us some insights on Sybil analysis. They have also perhaps some interesting presentation, and I think that's a super exciting part. And then our actually second/third part of the community call will be dedicated on our Dune and Linea. And I think that's super excited to have Matt Olsen from Dune, and we will kind of like go through some fireside chat / kind of screen share of what is happening in the space. And I think that's also like one big and salient part. And then we have Declan. I think everybody for now, not just because Declan is kind of coming in a lot of those community calls, but also because he's very active on X. Give us also like an overview on operations, believing in something. And I really like the title here. And then, as always, I think everybody know by it already, but we're trying to bring great ecosystem builders. There are winning hackathons. They're showing really an efforts to build something and deploy on Linea. And we're bringing those top builders to present in our community calls. What are you looking forward, Gwen? If you need to choose a couple of these
I'm very
sessions.
interested to see like every topic, like the Sybil analysis is like it's a long work, right? So I'm very interested to have like the technical details and stuff from that. And I'm also very excited to see like or Dev Cookoff winner like sharing something. But everything will be very interesting, right? It's also yeah,
Oh yes,
very all interesting topics, right?
yeah,
For 1 hour,
especially
1 hour is like
yeah.
it's a lot of topics for 1 hour, right? It will be very dense and we'll
Oh
have a lot
yes,
of
yes,
things to
yes.
discuss.
We need to
Yeah.
squeeze. Yes, we need to squeeze. We need to squeeze. Yeah, exactly. And they're super excited because both the Linea developer Cookoff is getting started. We're also like planning, and I think we have a couple of slides to present this. But we are part of this kind of AI jathon from Safe on agents. So that's also like super exciting. So a lot of things are happening. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So I think like we introduced ourselves already. We just want to kind of make sure that everybody understand why we're doing those Linea community calls and why they're so important for us, right? First, the biggest way that you can actually like check out what we are shipping and what is the ecosystem of Linea about is actually those calls. We're trying to be really the platform where we're showing our community what we've been shipping, but also what our community has been shipping. So a lot of like things around partnership. We just came out from a space a couple of hours ago that actually the Trump token is on Linea, right? And we had great panelists to discuss these changes, all this kind of meme economics movement, and it's actually very interesting. Kind of like the lesson learned here for us was really like the meme coin is not just meme coin as speculation, but it's actually a culture, right? And we're so excited also to see more and more happening around MetaMask card in terms of rewards, and all kind of this movement shaping the culture in the ecosystem. Then obviously, as we see Declan coming a lot, we're also sharing a lot of product updates around what is being shipped on Linea, how we're making things more efficient, and really the goal here is to have have really people shipping those things inside the call and actually showing us what is happening. And then we want to show technical demos. We want to really bring you great partners, great people that are actually building and shipping with us, and showing what they're actually building in correlation with Linea. And then obviously what we're going to really drop so many alphas. I think people are always looking around our socials, but also what's coming next is part of the game here. So that's why we're doing this kind of end of the month cadence of these calls, and I think people like it. And I think it's also a way for anybody listening today to ask questions, to give us feedback. I think this year is the first time we're doing a proper survey, and you will see it's literally 3 questions. It's like a 10-second survey, but it's really for you guys also to say, this is the topics that we want to hear more, this is kind of the angles that we want to see more, and this is kind of the things that we should push more in those community calls. So anything I'm missing here, Gwen, that you're looking forward to show?
Yeah, no, the feedback part, yeah, I want to insist on that. Is for us guys, it's very interesting to get feedback from you, and we're very happy to hear any tips you have, anything you want to see in the next one, because for us it's a good way to improve what we're doing for you. So yeah, be sure to complete it at the end of the call. It's just 10-15 seconds, as Francisco said. So
Nice. Yeah, that's exciting. And obviously, also in this call is a good touch point to give you all an idea where are we going next, what is happening, and what is actually current going, right? So stuff that we're doing not just from the DevRel side, but also from the presence that we'll have, right? So everybody know Denver is coming, but there is a lot of things happening in the same time and parallelly. Okay, sounds good. So without further ado, I will say let's get Arthur and Niklas on stage. And welcome you guys on stage. How is everyone?
Hello guys, nice to be there.
Nice. It's great to have you guys. So let's get started. Quickly round of intro, Arthur and Niklas, for the people that doesn't know you. I think Arthur, you've been already in some of those calls speaking about attestation, and it was actually a cool session. So it's great to have you here back.
Yeah, nice to see everybody. So I'm Arthur. I'm a product manager within the Linea team. And yeah, that's me.
Nice. What about you, Niklas?
I'm Niklas. I'm a senior research analyst with Nansen, and I do a lot of just airdrop projects that we do, like Carve, Layer 0, stuff like that, and we focus on Sybil analysis there.
Nice. Yeah, it's super exciting. I think for you, Gwen, it was interesting this session. So let's hear it out. Arthur, you want to screen share, or Niklas, you want to screen share your screen? And yeah, your background is amazing, Niklas, here with the pool. I hope the temperature is at least as your virtual background.
Unfortunately, it's just a screen.
It's cold, yeah. Okay, sounds good. Let's get it started. Awesome. Welcome back, guys.
Yeah. So maybe to share the context, I think some of you already heard the announcement, but what we did we worked with a Nansen team since December to analyze basically all the users that got LXP and find out about Sybils. And this was announced last week, and the decision we took was to block Sybil. So the idea today was to come back on this analysis and the decision, to explain you the reason why we wanted to block Sybil, to share the results, but also share the methodology and give you insight of how we have been working on this, thanks to the great work of the Nansen team. So maybe to start with why, it's pretty simple. I think if you are following us from some time, we always say prioritizing real user activity was the was essential on the Linea network, and there are a few reasons for that. One, first, so as you know, like we are approaching the airdrop, and we wanted to make sure that. And what this means, like concretely, is that the way we are thinking about it is that there is like a pool of tokens that are allocated by LXP to LXP holder, and so if we are removing the Sybil from getting the LXPs, the token, sorry, this means that the other real user will get a bigger share. So the real user are winning, and that's a super important point, especially because those users are the one that create and protect this vibrant community that we have on the network. This is like participating on Discord, sharing feedback that we help us improve like the chains, create a new feature and so on, and also using like the great that we have on Linea. And the last very important point is that the token will be used for governance, right? And so giving those tokens to real users ensure that the governance is active, because those real users will be participating to the governance and not Sybil, and also more decentralized, because we prevent like a huge chunk of token to potentially go to the wrong end. So inside that's like the reason why. So what we decide to do is to block Sybil. What it means exactly is that the addresses that were blocked will not receive any allocation for LXP, but they can receive still allocation, for instance, for LXPL, which was liquidity based, and so not subject to Sybil attack. And so that's what we are doing. In terms of the high-level result of the analysis, what we started with was approximately 1.3 million LXP holder that receive some amount of LXP, with a total of 2.6 billion LXP minted that are on-chain and that are soulbound, and even Linea cannot change those numbers, so they will stay exactly the same. But so during the analysis, we identified Sybils. So in total, there are approximately 500,000 Sybils, which represent approximately 40% of all the address, and which hold a bit smaller portion of the LXP holding, with 850 million token. And so that means that we have approximately 800,000 remaining address with the remaining token. And so as I mentioned, the LXP holding will stay on chain, but when calculating the final allocation for each address, we will remove those address and those LXP from the calculation. So that's the general number that we wanted to share to make sure everything is transparent. But one thing that we wanted to highlight as well is like the work from Nansen, that did this very difficult task of identifying Sybil, because this is a cat and mouse game. Sybils are always coming with new ways of hiding themselves and new technologies. So we wanted to have Nansen and especially Niklas on the call to give a bit more insight to the community on like how the analysis has been performed. So Niklas, I let you the floor.
Thanks a lot. So yeah, basically how our process looks like is we have several steps until we finally kind of produce this list of Sybils. The first step is purely like an on-chain analysis of value flows. So basically, could be either direct value flows, so just wallets sending money back and forth, but it could also be indirect value flows, like first funders. So like when the wallet came to existence, was it through a bridge? Was it through like a third party? Was it through another wallet maybe? And this basically builds up clusters of wallets, which are in some cases, like for the very stupid Sybils, let's say, like they're quite good, but it's also very prone to false positives. Like we have very extensive label coverage, but if you forgot just one label anywhere, it could be just normal users that just use a protocol, or we have a centralized exchange that's not labeled. So yeah, we kind of need to refine it. So we take these clusters as like a first batching mechanism to perform another check. Because what we're actually looking for is automated behavior. So people really gaming Linea. So yeah, we're not hunting specifically the guy who has like 2 wallets and like after his 8-hour work shift at McDonald's, he like does the transaction manually and tries around with protocols. That is totally fine, but we are actually really going after the industrial guys that run like big machine farms and stuff like that. So what we are specifically looking for is automated behaviors. So we kind of look at wallets and see like, oh, like what transactions do they do? What tokens do they hold? On what chains are they active? Then we have like a very specific part that is concentrated on Linea, which is related to campaigns, transaction history on Linea and stuff like that. But we also look beyond that to like cross-chain metrics, creation timestamps, all this kind of stuff. Like how big is their net worth? Like in what protocols are they in? What entities did they interact with? All this kind of stuff. And then we kind of look for overlaps between several wallets. And when we see, oh, this wallet has like, it just does exactly the same for the whole year, like another wallet, it's very, very likely that this is actually automated behavior. And those two are like part of the same Sybil farm. But yeah, not like no model is perfect out of the box. So what we then do is like we produce kind of like a preliminary list. And then we have like a bunch of analysts like me that also kind of manually click through the results. Like we go on chain, kind of check, yeah, is it actually the same? Could it be something else? And we do this kind of to iteratively fine tune our previous model and kind of get something that is quite accurate. And again, there we would rather kind of have a few Sybils that kind of slip through the cracks than kind of marking a valuable community member. Since yeah, it's quite important that the real users, yeah, that they're just happy and keep building the ecosystem. And yeah, one step of this is, of course, also kind of the final step of this is also yeah, the complaint form where we then actually can do like the last kind of fine tuning. We got a bunch of complaints, like a lot of them clearly automated or done through ChatGPT as well. But yeah, this is kind of like our last thing where we can kind of sift through this to kind of do the last thing. But yeah, don't expect it to change too much. Like the first list of Sybils was already quite accurate in my opinion. So there won't be too much change, but yeah, some of you who are maybe falsely flagged might still get something. Yeah, as I previously mentioned, we focus on like large groups of systematic farmers. They have like almost near identical on-chain behaviors. So kind of if you look at those transactions, you can see they do basically the same transactions, like with a very, very small difference maybe in token value, but they're all within minutes of each other. There's the exact same transactions, and it's just a screenshot, so the list goes way longer. And basically, like we look at this on-chain behavior. This is like a small part of what we look at. We look at like all these different things, compare every wallet with every other wallet. It's quite a computation effort, and then kind of calculate scores between every wallet. So how related are these wallets? And yeah, based on these scores, we kind of can quite accurately say if someone is a Sybil or not. So, for example, if we have a score above like 90% accuracy, it's very, very obvious. Like they look basically like this. And yeah, then with the help of Arthur, we set certain thresholds because we didn't want to kind of punish the small farmers. And yeah, came to our final Sybil lists.
Well,
Yeah.
I have a question, just like very quick. Like what's the biggest cluster you have with those kind of wallet, like who looks exactly the same when you're doing those analyses? I think it can be very huge because it's. I mean,
it can be very huge. So for Linea, I think it was a few thousand.
Wow.
I think around 2000. Because also like you guys made it quite hard already. Like you put like a lot of stuff in there to actually make it harder. But I remember for example, for layer 0, where it was like quite easy to just send transactions and people didn't really know what they had to do. There was like no proof of humanity, all this kind of stuff. We had up to like 50,000, 60,000 clusters of just like addresses with like 1 cent on it, just sending transactions between chains.
I see. Yeah, because I'm thinking like 2000, then you need to do proof of humanity. I mean, it's very hard to do it, right? Especially if you have to do like 3 different ones and stuff. That will require like a lot of effort.
For sure. Yeah. So for Linea, they were like considerably smaller, and they're like very, very few that are that big. Like our minimum threshold was around 20. So most are like between 20 and maybe 50, I would say.
Yeah, that's a good thing to point out as well. That's like the first proof of humanity that we created initially, like helped already reduced a lot the amount of Sybil, and even before we started like the Sybil analysis with Nansen, it's something that was already spotlighted by other analyses that were shared publicly by some teams, and so like the result that we have at the end is really good, and thanks a lot for your work, Nansen, because like the community feedback that we received so far is really good, and as I mentioned previously, it's not easy to find the right balance between detecting all the Sybils but also not wrongly accusing someone of being Sybil, and that's why we have the appeal form that we created that people have until the end of the week, so Sunday at just before midnight at CT time to fill if they fill their Sybils.
Yeah, actually, I see a question can be interesting. I don't know if you take it. It's like a use of the layer 0 Sybil list was not an option, right? And so because basically I saw a comparison on X Twitter, like some people compare like the Sybil list we have compared to the layer 0 one, and there is like I think like maybe 7% difference or something like that. But yeah, I mean, can explain the process, but I don't think like we didn't copy past the Sybil layer 0 list.
No, we didn't do it. Like I was also involved in that project, and they just had like slightly different requirements with respect to like what constitutes a Sybil, what doesn't. Also, we used different data for that, and then again, also like not everyone who uses Linea uses layer 0 and vice versa. And some that do use both, they maybe they just got lucky, but yeah, Arthur and I are discussing if we should revise that and just add them as well. So yeah.
Well, one thing to mention as well is that like most of the addresses that have been flagged by like during the layer 0, they know that they have been flagged, and so usually what they are doing is like creating a new wallet when farming new chain or new protocol. So like there are indeed some addresses that we can detect like that, but it's will not be like in the range of what we have been detecting with the Nansen analysis.
Perfect.
Sounds good. I think we're good. Maybe last question for the people that doesn't know what Sybil are. If you need to explain this to a 5-year-old, what is that? Because I think we had a couple of questions like, what are you guys talking about?
So to a 5-year-old, I would say it's like a person that try to make it appear like there are several persons so that they can game a system and get more reward, basically. That would be my simple definition. But Niklas, you have way more experience, so feel free to complete.
Oh yeah, I think that was already pretty good. Like especially for airdrops that don't really scale linearly with capital. So we're like as soon as you do something, you get anything. Like back in the days, it was like quite profitable for many people to just set up like 50 wallets and do it. But like in the end, you don't have 50 users, and yeah, what you want is actually reward every user fairly, basically.
Of course, makes sense. Yeah, so fairly distribution. Okay, sounds good. I think everybody got the point. I think we can also share like the slide. I think it's super interesting, this research output that you guys had, and grateful that you get presented in this call. Awesome. Okay, let's move on. I think we're already at 30, and the things are getting so interesting that let me just share quickly the screen here so that we're good to go. Okay, so let's invite our next session. So thank you so much, Arthur and Niklas. I will untoggle you guys and
Thanks a lot.
get this started.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.
Cheers. Okay, so next session is on Dune. So we have this fireside with Matt. Matt, welcome on stage. How are you today?
Excellent, thank you. How are you?
Oh, good.
Very well.
Yeah, excited to have this chat. And yeah, let's get it started. So I think I don't think like you have a proper like presentation. I think the goal here was kind of like getting started, just asking you a couple of questions, debating things. I think you can share anything that you want, but let's quickly start with a round of like introduction. Like, so who is Matt for the people that doesn't know you?
Perfect. Yeah.
Already.
So I'm Mats Olsen. I'm Norwegian. I'm one of Dune's 2 co-founders. I live in Switzerland, actually. Francesco, I think you might also, because I saw your nick is Francesco Swiss.
Yes.
So I'm in Zug, Switzerland, which is like used to be a crypto hub, but it's well, maybe still is.
Oh yes.
Anyways,
I'm assuming that you will be also in Ethereum Zurich.
I will on Friday. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, in Dune, I lead the engineering teams, and so out of our roughly 50 people, that's like 35. And in addition, like I lead a product team that is building like Dune for developers. We call it Echo, and it's like a developer platform. We're sort of trying to take all we know about crypto data and make it accessible not only on Dune.com for analysts, etc., but for developers building applications.
This is very cool. So Matt, I was just getting started here, but so I think like Echo itself, I mean, for the people, this is not the same Echo as you see in the Launchpad, right? This is a different Echo. But I wanna also ask you, Matt, so kind of why you kind of decided, like to move to a much broader developer platform? I think it's a really cool idea because you guys are aggregating a lot already. You're building kind of like, you're giving like tooling to build those dashboards, but how come like this kind of like thinking started around building Echo?
Sure. Yeah, so Dune's mission is really to make crypto data accessible. And we sort of, we think about our role or sort of our vision, like if the future comes true, it's a world where every participant of the crypto economy is empowered by data. And the next step for us was developers for a few different reasons. So first of all, we sort of see our role as like accelerating crypto adoption in a sense. Like you go to Dune and you discover what's real and what's not real. And you have all equal access to sort of a whole new financial system across like 93 chains on Dune today. But I think it was also like a timely point in crypto's history to like start accelerating like application development. Like it's a hot topic. Like, are we building enough apps, etc. Especially in sort of the EVM landscape. And so I think our role is probably not to build a hot new app for crypto, although we dabble in it. We had our Mint Moments app open in on-chain summer last year, which was a huge success. But our role, I think, is enabling developers. So it's also just born out of like personal
interest,
discontent. Discontent with like the state of the art when like I use crypto a lot and I have since 2017, and there's a lot of slow apps out there. There's a lot of apps that handle like many chains poorly. The UX is not really there, and so I thought we could have a stab at making it easier for developers.
Yeah, actually, I have a question that, like, for multi-chain developments, basically. So what Echo is enabling, because you say like 93 chains, so that's quite a lot,
Yeah.
right? I think like it expands beyond EVM as well, right? So
Yeah.
you have, yeah. So what you can do with the platform, like for example, if I want to do like to use the platform to build a dApp, multi-chain dApp, so, or is it like easier to use it compared to like use like a basic solution? Actually, I don't even know like a quick solution to do it in a few clicks, right? But
so it's probably a good time for me to like screen share some docs, etc. But
of course,
essentially, the way we think about the APIs are like, to use a term thrown around a lot these days, they're sort of like chain abstracted. So essentially, you call our API with a wallet address, and you get back data on Echo 53 chains. So in one response. So instead of like having to rely on calling 53 different APIs to get data for 53 chains, you get it in one response. And so this just makes it a lot more ergonomic to build apps that are actually multi-chain, but we also think it makes it a lot easier to, like, let's say you're deployed on 5 chains and then you want to deploy on Linea. It's as simple as like adding the chain ID to the request. So I can show you how it works.
Yeah, we'd love to understand a little bit all this API specific, like, because multi-chain deployment is something that I think a lot of developers are looking forward.
Yeah, exactly. So I shared my screen now. I don't know if you can pull it in, Francesco.
Yes, let me get it. There you are.
Yeah. Okay, so this is already outdated. When we launched Echo, we had 30 networks. We now have 53, and of course we have Linea, and we're part of is it Cookoff? Dev Cookoff, you're calling it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
we definitely need to do this one and more. Yeah, that's super excited.
Yeah. So essentially the APIs that are available today are token balances and transaction history, and we're working on a couple more. But essentially token balances, I think, is just relevant for every single application that is being built today. So like having a way to find accurate token balances across chains it's a pain in the ass for most people, and especially if you go cross chain. And so we built that. And I'll show you how it works. So I went to Linea Scan and I found this random address. I don't know who this is, so I'm not going to dox this person, but it's heydar.linea.eth. Looks like we're minting cubes, so maybe using layer 3 and just, generally doing some stuff. Maybe the previous team would have filtered it out in the Sybil analysis, maybe not. But we can see here that the ETH balance is like 0.011 ETH, around $37, and they have $7 in token holdings. So one thing we can do with our API is I just hit this API, and I now have it set to chain IDs 59144, which is Linea, and this is the same address that I picked out over here. So we can see that we pick up the right amount of ETH and the right value of ETH. So we've priced it. And then we can look at the token holdings as well. So we should be seeing like a Linux, we should be seeing a Foxy and a USDC. So we see a Linux, we see USDC, we see Foxy. And the cool thing about this API is we return literally every token you've ever interacted with, and we price it on chain. So we don't rely on a third party like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko to price it. We actually go to the dominant Uniswap fork on chain and price it, which means that we have very long tail coverage of like token metadata and token prices. So that's pretty cool. But I want to show you how easy it is to like go from this user's token balances on just Linea to literally like all chain IDs. So I just specify in the URL chain IDs all. And here we can see that, well, this user is actually, holds Chainlink token on the BNB chain, holds Uni on BNB, holds OP on Optimism, holds Ethereum on Ethereum, holds ETH on Lisk,
Mm.
holds Gitcoin on Ethereum. So it's like super simple to go from one chain to 53. And the coolest thing is if I go back, this is now just Linea, and I look at the network tab here, like the response time on this is 150 milliseconds, 200, 185, 196. So it's super fast. It's like maybe the most performant API out there. And if I put all here, it will be a little slower.
Yeah, because
but,
if you want to do like either scan, like Linea scan, and then you need to create the account every time you get your API key every time, and then you try to call all the API. And I think like minimum you will take a few seconds to get everything. Like and it will be very hard to do it because you will have to do like one request for each. Yeah.
Exactly. And so
Very
this
nice.
is now across 53 chains, and it's like hovering between 400 and 600 milliseconds. So that's pretty fast. Similarly, we can look at sort of the transaction log of this user. So this is just for Linea, and we do like a reverse chronological feed of transactions. So this should be pretty much consist with this one. So the latest one was 33 minutes ago, 0xBE8, and that's the one we see here. But the cool thing here as well is if you want to build up an app that works across chains, like we can just add in different chain IDs here.
Okay, that's actually cool.
And it just works. So here we have Linea, base, and you have it all in the same sort of feed that you can build for this user. And similarly to the token balances one, this is also very fast. We're 115 milliseconds across these 4 chains now. So it's like very performant and chain agnostic, if you will. We also support SVM chains in a separate endpoint. So currently that's Solana and Eclipse. But yeah, that's like what I wanted to show today and why I'm really excited, because it's really easy for like developers to just plug another chain into their app by using this API.
Yeah, that's
You
very
don't
nice
need to
because we had like some concern like on the Linea team, right? That's why we developed recently, we spin out like a token API, so people are able to get tokens and everything. But yeah, for the multi-chain perspective, it's really interesting for developers to use this tool, right? Because when you have to, especially I think like you're doing a East Global hackathon, you're doing like you have like five chain you want to use or something, and then you need to create an account every time or like check which specific API is available on this chain. If you do a hackathons, I think it's very interesting. And when you want to launch your project like quickly, like ship faster, right? Because there is a lot of projects that take a lot of time to do those things. So it's very, very interesting. Yeah. So
yes.
I like it.
Even spinning up like multi-chain starter kits, like it would be super useful because you'll already kind of like get those API fully multi-chain and with actually very quick, like the speed is actually like is very quick. I don't know on the architecture side how you guys managed on the infrastructure how to get this speed, but it's quite impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, no, we really think of performance as like one of our moats here, because I mean we have a database background in Dune, and so we effectively don't really rely on like off-the-shelf database software for this. Secondly, I wanted to mention that these APIs are like they're production ready. They're used in production by good teams. So it's not just your like ETH Global hacker. Like this is also useful for like the top 50 dApps who want to expand to Linea, who want to expand to chain number 54, whenever that is.
Of course.
And question, Matt, on the use case specific, like you touched on the multi-chain side. What are the other things that the dApps builders or general like kind of big use case are targeting, like apart like the multi-chain use case?
So I think one of the big sort of themes we see in our customer base is DeFi. Like I mean, it's probably the biggest category of on-chain application today. So and one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we get from like DeFi and wallets is like having a more of an activity feed that's not just transactions. So I showed you now token balances, which is sort of 101. Every app needs token balances. Transactions is like a stepping stone to the 102, which is an on-chain activity feed, which also has like token transfers and NFT transfers, mints, swaps, stuff like this. Things that just normal EOA transactions don't really work for. Like if you receive a token, there's really no transaction to or from your account. It'll be a transaction to the token, and then there will be an event that signifies that there's a transfer to your account. So we're sort of building this abstraction to give you like a real user activity feed across chains. And one of the teams we're POCing with right now actually want to use it for Sybil. So for their support team to be able to get a quick glance of a user account across the 53 chains, like is this organic activity or not? But the most common use case is like you open up your wallet and you want to see the last 10 things you did, regardless of what chain you're on. And you go to, I don't know, Uniswap, and you want to see the last 10 swaps, regardless of chain you were on, type of thing.
That's very cool. Yeah, that's very cool. I mean, as DevRels, we're really all looking forward also to see all the docs and trying to onboard. I think the onboarding on this side, it's actually quite slick. And we actually need to send over like some of those docs, the guides that you just screen shared here, Matt. I think that would be super useful.
That's for sure. Yeah, I think like yes, because for example, maybe you should like I was thinking Reno.fi those bridge, because right now they have a way to retrieve like your bridge and everything, but it's only like a caching on your computer, because I thought they had something like this, right? Because I bridged like, for example, from Polygon to Optimism, and then from like a Polygon to Linea. And I was like, oh, that's very cool. Like, even like from Arbitrum to Linea or something. And I was like, oh, it's very cool because you have like this all the transaction and everything. But actually, then when I clear out my cache at some point, it disappears, right?
Exactly.
So it's like basically just caching in your computer and your browser. But then when you want to change, you don't have it. So it can be very cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I also think this is like data that's sort of not local to the application. I think token balances, user activity are things you take with you from one app to the other. So it's relevant to app B if you have used app A, and app C as well. And token balance, of course, like Uniswap doesn't care if you acquired your staked ETH on Sushi or Relay or something like that. They just want to show you your balance and let you trade it, right? So there's some of this data that's just evergreen, really.
I think agreed on the evergreen side. And I think also like I think this session inspired us also to create maybe some kind of like we're running also every month like something called live coding sessions, and maybe we can build an app specifically live. Hopefully the demo got that with us with actually the Echo APIs now. Actually, it's super cool. And I wish we had a little bit more time, Matt, but I don't know if you have any question, Gwen, to close it up, but I'm interested to understand. So what's kind of like coming, what's next for Echo in terms of kind of like API supports?
Sure. So I think there are two big things that are coming out very soon. So I just showed you actually the on-chain pricing update to our balance endpoint. That shipped today. So we're going to announce it today or like this week. That's a pretty big update that sets us, makes it really convenient to use this API because of the 100% metadata coverage and like very long tail price coverage. The other thing we are hoping to get out into production this week is the activity feed that we talked about. And this, I think, is just a huge unlock for many builders that want to build a rich UX. Thirdly, I'll say that over the holidays, we acquired a team called SmallXL, known for their product Sim.io, which essentially is a re-implementation of the EVM that's instrumented and can pull out data from any point of the transaction's life cycle. So you can write event handlers for things like storage changes. Whenever a private variable in any smart contract changes, you can get that piece of data into your database and serve an API of it. And so with this technology, we're planning, well, first of all, to add many more chains, such as Linea, and build more or less like a more indexing-like product that lets you build up APIs for your protocol. So you give us a set of smart contracts that constitute your protocol, and out comes like an instrumented version of that with the data in a database. And it's wicked fast, of course.
Nice.
Nice. Yes, I think it's very interesting. Like, do you plan as well to add, like, I mean, maybe it's up to users, because with the token API, you will be able to do that, right? Like with this, like if you have the price of the token, you're able to do it. Because for example, like this weekend, I was like, okay, let's try to do something, like to build something. So I built like a quick Telegram bot to watch LP position on Nile, which is on Linea, and basically like, there is like big support, like, and tool to support like a big DEX and big DeFi platform, but like for smaller one on ecosystem, you have to build them yourself, right? And so basically it was like, it's always very like kind of tricky to like go to the pool, like find the factory contract, which is created by the guy when he's creating the LP for the first time. And then you have to find the tick in the pool, right? To see like if the position is like in range or out of range. I mean, I think it will be better if you have the token one, like an API like this to create it. Well, I don't know if you plan to integrate it directly, right? But that's something very cool and very useful, I think. Yeah.
It's sort of the functionality in the SIM product that we acquired is like, it's quite simple. Caveat, if you know some Solidity, to go in and just like, instead of having to try and like recreate the state of the EVM outside using EVM events or SQL or TypeScript, you can just go in directly to the contract and say, hey, let me read this variable and divide it by this other variable, and then just emit the data. And that, makes it very easy to create those APIs.
Yeah, for development, it's a lot easier.
Yes, and then Matt, we will follow up also for the live coding session. I think having either you or one developers that build with us on onboarding on the Echo Docs, I think that would be super cool and valuable, especially because impressed by the speed. So shout out to you guys. Okay, sounds good. Let's move forward. I think these calls need to be definitely longer. It's super excited also like to have such also like strong caliber. I will untoggle you, Matt. Thanks so much, and I probably see you on Friday because also my talk is in the afternoon. So looking forward to chat. Awesome. See you.
Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Okay. So we are coming in our fourth part. So on the operational side. So without further ado, I will invite Declan on stage. And welcome, Declan.
Hello.
How are you today?
Doing good. How are we all?
Very well.
Nice, all good. So today we're speaking about Operation Believing in Something, right? I really love the title. How you came up with the title?
So actually, someone from the community, I can't recall who, replied on one of my tweets, believe in something. So actually, I can't take credit for it, but I saw that and I was like, that's amazing. And then I tweeted it myself and it sort of caught on. And I think even some of the other L2 teams started tweeting as well, believe in something. So yeah, I think, it was a nice like moment where, and again, part of the thing I want to talk through is like the last 2 weeks in greater Ethereum land, how the teams are coming together to kind of refocus and like think about the bigger picture, and really like how Linea is going to be like a key part of that. So that's why I'm like super excited with this sort of operation, I guess.
So what are kind of changes on this operation side?
Yeah. So I guess just for context, so there was a bit of FUD around Ethereum probably like in the last 2 weeks. I would say people were questioning, what is Ethereum's North Star? We have these L2s and they're parasitic to Ethereum. Where's the value accrual to ETH? Like all these sorts of questions, which I think like everyone is very valid to ask in the community. Obviously, like Linea is sort of, very much the DNA of Linea is from Ethereum. Obviously, founder of Consensus Joe Lubin is the co-founder of Ethereum. So we're very much interested in making sure that Ethereum is super successful. And so we kind of got together with a bunch of other sort of key Ethereum like organizations, like ENS, for example. So all the .eth out there representing the .eth in their username represent. Status as well, who are launching Status Network, and they currently secure, I think, around 5-10% of proof of stake on Ethereum. We got together with folks from the EF, the Ethereum Foundation themselves, and other like key representatives as well. So basically, we took a look at the roadmap and said, you know, how can we make sure that the Linea roadmap, and specifically, is, you know, geared to make sure Ethereum is successful? Because now we have multiple teams using the technology to launch their own L2s in this sort of open source community that we have. And, you know, it's important that we're all aligned on the same direction, because we don't want to be, you know, going in different paths and then end up in, you know, 6-12 months time and not really clear on like what we've built. So that was the sort of the reason, the raison d'etre for getting together. The sort of key outcomes from that is that we're going to pursue what's called a sort of based rollup and a native rollup approach. So I'll dive in a little bit what these are. The based rollup is probably the one that people are most familiar with, because this is something that's been discussed for around about a year. There's actually some based rollups already on Ethereum. And what a based rollup is, it's essentially that the Ethereum proposer actually sequences the blocks for the L2. So today, with like most L2s, you have a sort of centralized sequencer, which is off-chain, that receives the transactions, it bundles them up, and then it submits them to the Ethereum blockchain. With a sort of based rollup, the actual layer one proposers, the layer one validators are taking that job. Okay, so that's a key difference, because then you get the decentralization of Ethereum, which is super cool. Right, Ethereum is probably the most decentralized smart contract platform out there. So actually leveraging that security and decentralization is really helpful. You don't really get much better than that. And it also solves a lot of the problems with sort of L2s today, which, you know, around like sensitive resistance and upgrades and these types of things. So that's the sort of based rollup approach. With based rollups, there's sort of two main categories. You have based rollups without pre-confirmations. And if you do not have pre-confirmations in your based rollup, the block time will be 12 seconds, the same as Ethereum. So that's actually quite bad, because, you know, Linea today is 2-second block times, right? So it feels faster by 6x than Ethereum. And obviously we need to get even faster if we want that sort of Web 2 like snappy feel. So that's like one configuration, and that's maybe more suitable for like ENS name chain, where you're not necessarily, you know, if you're going to register or renew your .eth ENS name, you don't really care if it takes 12 seconds. But for Linea, we want really fast transactions for payments, for DeFi, for all these things. So we need to have based rollups with pre-confirmations. And so pre-confirmations is quite a complicated topic. It requires some more research. But essentially, you have this new actor, this what we call a gateway, who actually receives transactions and then pre-confirms that execution will be included on chain. And one blockchain that actually already uses pre-confirmations, this isn't like well known, it's Solana. So Solana actually has 400 millisecond pre-confirmations, where the block builder, the proposer, says, yes, I will include this transaction. It's called shreds in their terminology. And then every 4 shreds, so 400 millisecond shreds, 4 shreds, you get 1.6 second block times. And so that sort of similar idea we can then leverage on Linea with like based rollups and pre-confirmations. So it's kind of cool, because Solana's already explored and built a lot of the technology that we'll be able to learn from when we're thinking about how to optimize Ethereum and based rollups. And so that was a big sort of announcement. I'm going to continue the research and development on this. And then the other one was native rollups. So this is a lot newer. Native rollups was sort of, you know, an ETH research post shared by Justin Drake from the Ethereum Foundation. Essentially, the idea is to include a new pre-compile on the layer 1 itself, which will handle the execution. So like when we think about rollups today, you know, we have like execution, like where the transactions and the state transition function is happening. You have settlement, and you have data availability as well. So like, are you using blobs on Ethereum 4844? Are you posting to EigenDA or Celestia? And so with smart contract rollups like Linea today, the execution is happening like off chain. We then, you know, post the data availability to 484 to the blobs, and then we send a snark proof, ZK snark proof to settle the transition. And so with a native rollup, the idea is to take that execution and it will be handled inside this precompile directly on the layer 1 itself. So this is quite a different mental model than what we've been used to in the last few years. But the cool thing there is that, if there's the upgrade path for the L2 itself, like if you need to upgrade the EVM, that will then come with the L1. Okay, so that you can kind of start to get rid of things like security councils and these like additional risks when it comes to security. So that's like that's in my mind, a native rollup is almost like a stage 3 rollup. Like, we have L2 beat stages today. It's a great website if people aren't familiar with it, L2 beat. And we have this stage 0, stage 1, stage 2. I think like a native rollup is like a stage 3 where we get rid of the security council. So sort of like end game that we want to move towards. The really cool thing about Linea and native rollups is to be a native rollup in the sort of current proposal. You need to be EVM equivalent. Okay, so you need to be bytecode equivalent, have the same bytecode as the EVM. And actually Linea is the only EVM equivalent rollup, pretty much. So, you can sync a vanilla Ethereum client to Linea, and that makes it easier to move to be a native rollup. So that's actually something that, we couldn't have predicted, but I think is like shows the value of like maintaining the Ethereum specification. And yeah, so that's something we want to explore. It's mostly going to be a year of like R&D this year, I would say. I would not expect definitely native rollups this year because it requires an Ethereum hard fork. And most of the hard forks this year, Pectra comes in March. That's focused on 7702 and account abstraction and a few other cool things. The new BLS12 curve, which is great for cost. And then I think the next hard fork will be focused around increasing the blob count as well for rollups. So my guess is sort of like next year we'll have a hard fork, hopefully, to include this new native precompile, which will allow rollups to become native and have their execution handled by Ethereum itself.
That's very cool. Yeah, Declan, you're such a source of like knowledge, right? I was trying to get literally what was happening in the Ethereum core devs narrative. I think was published with Justin, and you kind of like gave right now a good resume on the basic native rollups. But I understand from what you're saying also, working on a native rollup, it's kind of a roadmap, right? But also this EVM compatibility is something that it's kind of like a must-have in order to work on that. And I'm happy that on Linea, we're already kind of on this EVM equivalence.
Yeah, and then so I guess just to summarize, I actually have to jump. So what I would say is that, we have this sort of new information that's going to change the roadmap. I'm actually hopefully this week going to publish, the latest version of the roadmap that we have on our forums and sort of outline the key research topics that we need to address in the short term. The good thing for the community is that we've got together with other people from Ethereum community, and we now have a plan in place that's going to make Linea really sort of connected with the Ethereum layer 1 itself, and also make Ethereum successful, because we're very much tied to the sort of fate of the L1 itself. So yeah, anyone who's flooding ETH and Ethereum, they can stop complaining and believe in something.
So we close it up with believe in something. Awesome. Yeah. Thanks, Declan, for the short kind of insights. I think we're looking forward also on your post, and we will share also some links if this is happening in the next couple of days.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. Cheers, guys.
Thank you, Declan. See you later. Awesome. So I think we're good. We're kind of on time, but things are getting more spicy and spicy. I think what literally Declan dropped in terms of knowledge is a lot, and we definitely need to kind of compass it in the next couple of weeks. Awesome. Are you good, Gwen? How is it? A lot of things are happening in this 1 hour.
Yeah, a lot of things, right? Actually, because I just finished to process what Matt said, and then Declan is saying a full story of what's happening in the ecosystem in the last previous 2 weeks, right? So
but the Ethereum core dev.
Yeah, it's very interesting discussion, right? Because for us, on Linea, it's super important to have a stable L1 ecosystem, which is also moving forward and still evolving to be sure L2s are successful, you need to have like a stable L1 framework, right? So
Exactly.
so it's very interesting, yeah, for us. And I mean, I think the next week will be very interesting as well, because it's always like this, like you have a raise and concern somewhere at some point that someone is saying, oh, we should like, there is an issue there, right? And then like everyone is debating. There is obviously a lot of fun, because we see that with the prism of X and Twitter, right? So
Oh, yes.
like people, they're always fighting a little bit, but then you have like a researcher and a lot of very smart people like coming together, and they're like, okay, let's find a solution. So it's very interesting.
Yeah. I think the reaction also, like from like 5 years beacon chain to kind of native rollup is definitely like a big reaction, and I'm excited to actually hear this. In the last 3 Ethereum core dev calls was actually this was the big debate, right? And I think it's something we really need. And having kind of like Linea already on the EVM equivalence is a big kind of part of the job. And I think also the tooling that are coming with the Linea ecosystem too, right, for both developers and kind of like builders in the space. I think it's super relevant. Okay, let's do it. We have still a couple of slides. We have also like Stanislav that we want to actually hear what he built. So let's get Stanislav on stage. Welcome. How are you today?
Yeah, hello. Pretty fine, thank you. What about you?
All good. So just to give a context for the people that join a little bit later, part of this monthly like Linea community calls, we're inviting strong builders, hackathon winners, and kind of like people that are rocking the Linea ecosystem. And this time we have BankWatch. So we have Stan actually like presenting his demo. So we're running this evergreen monthly Linea developer Cookoff that are happening on this platform called HackWest, and we are actually starting back this February. And I think, Stan, you won one of the previous version, and we're super excited to have you here. So without further ado, quickly introduce yourself, and I will also like get. I think like you would probably demo something. So we can get your screen share here.
Sure. First of all, I want to say thank you for this opportunity to introduce my project and participate in Linea Dev Cookoff November. So I would like to share my technical insights. Starting from this point, I would like to say that I'm working as a Web3 developer, mostly for the DeFi solutions, and have a keen interest to contribute into the decentralized identity solutions. So that's why I'm being a contributor to the Verax attestation registry.
Oh, nice.
So I have come to this hackathon with the idea to combine my knowledges from the contributions to Verax and the DeFi skills, and I have picked up main topic as a DeFi. So talking about BankWatch. BankWatch, it's an application. It's a decentralized application that allows borrowers to build banking profile.
Do you want a screen share, by the way?
Yeah. I want to.
Do you want to? Yes. Sounds good. Yeah, before I forget.
Yes, showcasing their ability to repay loans and make trust for all the users. Yes, let me show. So BankWatch,
There you are.
what do we have here? Here you can see the connected account already, and we can see some dashboard. Here you can collect your NFTs, your achievements as the NFTs. As you can see, this user currently have 2 of them, collateral verified and healthy achieve. So let's try to mint maybe the secured lender to improve our statistics. Sign up transaction. Okay, that's low. For now, we see that we can't achieve the health champion because our health rate is 5.5. So let's maybe tweak a bit crypto bank. I'm using Zeroland. So we have something to repay. Let's repay some amount. It might take some time, but I believe after the transaction will be sent, we will receive the new NFT. So what's next? We can claim here attestation score that can show you that you are always repay your loans and you have a good collateral.
And so you mint it with Verax, right? I mean, you use Verax for that.
Yes,
Nice.
we are using Verax as a database here. So what's next? You can copy your wallet and use the observer that can allow you to check other wallets. So in the future steps, I believe we can make some collaborations with some banks and allow better opportunities for the loaners and for the borrowers showcasing your profile.
Nice.
That was the quick demo.
Nice.
So
yeah.
infrastructure-wise, use Verax for the
Yeah.
precision side, right? How was the journey, like the experience?
I'm not new with Verax. I'm contributing for this tool sometimes, and that's why I have picked up this topic, because I would like to showcase the opportunities of the Verax and how you easily can build the reputations protocols.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very nice tool. Like we almost like we are a few fix like to like a very stable version that we will be able to like move forward with. I think like yeah. So I mean, you didn't like any feature, right? On this thing, I think like, but it's very nice to have contributors on those kind of things, because you know, like open source contribution. I think it's one of the most important things we have in this ecosystem. So
Yeah,
very
and
very
nice
proud.
case to learn.
Yeah, very happy you're doing that. So thanks a lot for your contribution.
Yes.
Thank you, Tim.
Stan, and one question: what's happening like next? Like, are you planning to extend the DApp, or like what kind of like the next steps here?
Yes, I have some ideas. I have a backlog for this application, and I would like to improve it with some new features, some new banks. Might be improve achievement system and make it in a more gamified view. But let's take a look. Maybe I would like to participate in the upcoming Linea Dev Cookoff, and maybe I'm going to find some new topic interesting for me.
Nice. Yeah, we're pushing hard, right? So February we're planning on a meme coin kind of vertical. So there will be also some kind of AI agent use case, and then obviously like payments probably for March. So we're lining up with also like partners to join some of the bounty
Yeah, nice to
pools.
hear that.
So that's excited. Yes, awesome. Sounds good. Thank you so much, Stan. And also, like, make sure you share the repo, that we can share it also with everyone, either in the comment or post the call.
all the info.
And I think everybody will love to check it out.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Stan. And yeah, looking forward to meet you maybe in the next Linea Dev Cookoff, or in Denver or in ECC, whenever you're
Yeah,
next.
for sure.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Bye.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Okay, so I think it was quite straightforward. I actually love, like, how people are synthetics,
Yeah.
they're screen sharing things, and they're actually doing things in a faster way. So let's do a couple of like lesson learned / announcements. What is happening, kind of like on the Linea ecosystem, and where are we currently, right? First, like, what session did you like the most?
The session I like the most. So I have to decide, right? Now, I mean,
Spicy questions.
Yeah. No, I was very interested to see like like all like Nansen and Arthur work on this balancing for the Sybil one. So for me, it was very interesting to see the pipelines they have. Like they do like this cluster data, that they do like another one. And as I thought, like there is this part of like manual reviewing and filtering, because I mean you don't have really like all the ways to do it correctly, but this require, but they have the computation power to do the pre-filtering, right? Because without a very good computation power, because you saw like he told us, like you have this one comparison with like not every wallet, but if you want to have a scoring, you need to do that, right? And this is like super computation consuming, right? So like coming from computer science background, you just like like if you do like a one computation, like it's super consuming, especially because there is like people that trying like a lot of things to like hide, they do like a Sybil stuff. So it was very interesting, yeah. But very, very interesting to see as well, like the Dune developer app. I will definitely try it out, because like, this weekend I was like having those kind of problems that they try to solve, and they will probably solve with the things they're releasing today, right? So
yes,
right.
I definitely impressed about the speed on the API response. Was quite interesting. I think it's definitely like infrastructure first, and Dune has been already kind of leading that a lot on the infrastructure. So okay, sounds good. So so before we kind of closing up, I just want to remind everyone, like we just put really 4 bullet points, just the most important one. So first, like I don't know if anybody out here is planning or is working on AI agents, on ELIZA framework, and on specific things. But we're being part of this special hackathon from SAFE. It's actually called Agenthon. It's actually quite interesting name, and we will provide 5K bounty. And Gwen, I think like you work also on the bounty verticals. You want to quickly like say what are kind of the bounty if people are planning to actually like participate?
Yeah,
And
we have like the 2 biggest track, like the 2 main track, which is like you have one vertical around payments, right? Because like we have a lot of infrastructure to help you like with payment on Linea. Like we will have I think the biggest like stable coins, liquidity depths, and a lot of things we're planning to do like on Linea to help everyone who wants to do like a good payment service to use the chain. And so we have like a full vertical on that, because for example you can use Nile. I would love to see like someone creating an AI agent to rebalance pool on Nile, right? There is a lot of money to be done there as well, right? Because for now it's a very it's a very small platform, so there is no tooling. If you're the first tooling to do that for people who want to rebalance their pool, you can do very well. And we have the other part, which is like for the social and meme coin community. Try to create something interesting. I mean, you can use like anything. The cool thing with Linea is it's really EVM compatible, right? You won't struggle with like tens of different opcode who are not like compatible at all, right? So you can, if you did like something in the past, like on another chain, you can just like come and deploy your Solidity contract. As soon as you know like how to use Solidity and deploy it, you can do your AI agent, and you can use like all the API available on ELIZA OS. I mean, there is also like other framework that shows like I heard like another name, but I'm not sure, so I won't say it here.
Yes.
But yeah, there is super nice framework you can use to create a lot of things. So we're very happy to do that with Safe. And yeah, I mean, I will be like personally with Francesco as well. We will review all your submission, and yeah, I think it will be a great time. I might do something as well on my side, right?
It's actually quite cool. Yeah, there is a bunch of like also like per specific like verticals, right? And the website is actually quite slick. So feel free always to check it out. And I think like for the specific bounty, you can just check out the. I think
I think it's posting like it's somewhere like I think in a few hours it will be like released like on Twitter as well, so you will see it.
Yes,
it's an alpha, right?
This was a pre-drop.
We're very excited to share our
awesome.
thing, right? So we like as soon as it's ready and launched, we say it, but sometimes like so just a few hours after the call, you will have everything. Yeah.
Exactly. No, sounds good. Yeah. Okay, sounds good. So we have this happening. I think this is starting actually in a few days. I think the 3rd. So make sure like you prep, you register, and you actually think about the vertical. And I mean, don't hesitate also to reach us out. We're more than happy also to walk through like this vertical, the bounty types. We're also working on some agent pre-kit to kind of like already pre-deployed on Linea. So there is a lot of things being happening there. And then the second kind of like big announcement is that, as you heard from our hackathon winner before, we are not letting down all our builders and developers. So we are planning to go back with our monthly Linea developer Cookoff. And the first one is actually happening here in February. So and we're also super excited to have like again another strong partner. We really wanted to go back on the kind of like the meme coin verticals. and we will have eCrocs and eFrogs, like Crocs and eFrogs, so as partner. So we're actually planning to do some of the co-vertical. But I think like the vertical specific will be something around meme coin. We're thinking about also some agents around this vertical. Do you know more, Gwen? On
Yeah,
that?
I mean, it's like it's always to bootstrap, you know, like the meme coin community. You want to have like some super nice like tools. You can the cool thing with meme coin is you can basically do everything you want, right? You don't have to be like very serious, because payments, if you think about the payment stuff, it's like it's very like you have to be structured, you have to be like corporate, right? If you think about meme coin, you can just create like a random meme generator, right? Create me a meme generator on like for using like Crack, or using like frogs, using like everything you want, or like using, when there is a meme coin, you just like you can think about like a meme coin, like meme generator with using like the last 5 like memes, you're using an AI to try to find something funny to do with that, right? And you create a meme. I mean, I would be very happy if you do that, right? So I mean, you can have a lot of things. You will have more details in the next few days. So
yes. Yeah, I think we should come up with some kind of like wish list per each kind of like like developer, like Cookoff. That would be super useful. Okay, sounds good. And then obviously what we stated before, so we're planning to be in Denver. We are running a lot of like different activation, and yeah, we're also like running a sub activation. For anybody that doesn't know, we will plan a builder night again in Denver, similar to last year. And yeah, we're just excited to bring you a lot of like different things. We'll be around the hackathon. We're also planning some kind of extra like mini meetups around kind of Linea. But definitely like it's very excited. Both this hackathon activation, around the Denver is a big things. But most important, like feel free to reach us out if you have any questions. Actually, speaking about questions, as we said before, this is the first time that we're doing it because we want to really hear from you what topics you would like us to actually speak about. Right? As you can see, we're mixing up the formats. We have different stuff from fireside chat to kind of hackathon winner presenting to kind of like product updates and what we're shipping. But, you know, maybe you want to hear something else. You want to hear something different, where you want to have this call maybe, you know, 10, 15 minutes long and not like 2 hours, you know, like really like would be better even for us. But I think even if you're saying we want to more having weekly updates, so it doesn't need to be specific on topics, but also on specific on format. And this is also like a way for us also to understand how we can optimize and also like give you the best kind of like community updates from like in a single moment, right? But I think that's it. I'm missing something around those feedbacks, Gwen?
No, I mean, feedback's always very important for us. I think you didn't miss anything there. Yeah, I mean, also just personal notes. So I'm thinking, like, for example, on the feedback forms, if you can tell me, because I had an idea a few days ago. It's like, I'm like, because like, you know, during the night, evenings, I'm sometimes coding on my computer, like some stuff I want to do, like out of my mind. And I'm usually like, on some Discord server, like random Discord server, but I'm like, I can do that in the Linea Discord server or MetaMask Discord server if people want, right? So if you think this is an interesting idea, I can just like jump off. Like obviously it's not to ask me questions about like TG and stuff, everything, right? Just like a chill talk about like if you're developing at the same time something which can like share screen and I can like help you like fixing some stuff, can be interesting as well.
Yes.
Because I'm thinking it can be interesting, like maybe not like the same time every week, like just like when I have time, I can just like jump for like 1 hour on the Discord server. So yeah, you can tell me if you think it's interesting in the feedback form, because I mean, I don't know, right? Maybe it's not interesting at all if you don't want it, but
yes, I think and every time we optimize better, right? I think now we are doing those Linea community calls, but then we have also this Linea kind of like live developer sessions where we literally build think it was like live coding session. That's the
Yeah.
title. For example, last time we built this kind of like marketplace and we deployed on Linea. That was actually quite cool. But we're working on different things. I think we have also some AI agent kind of like session for this live coding session. But I think having office hours is something that it will be super valuable. So if you're hearing us right now and you're actually checking out this QR code, if you want to, for example, have some office hour that we just stay there for 1 hour, either answering your question, hearing you in our Linea Discord, feel free to actually respond to that survey or this or answer like, hey, I want this, or I don't wanna. I just wanna hear you guys speaking for 1 hour, right? So that's another feedback. But I think in terms of like formats, we are trying different formats, and I think that's definitely like optimizing, combining things. I think that's great. I think we spoke enough for this month. Like we are definitely like looking forward for next month. I think like next month, and obviously I think we will be actually in Denver. So we're also coming up with more updates. And we will have also some of the winners for the Dev Cookoff. That will be also like a cool. And I think a lot of things will be shipped on the Linea side, not just the Trump token that we actually like spoke about today. Cool. Anything else, Gwen, that you want to add before we're closing up?
No, I want to thank the community to be there and to support us. We very appreciate your feedback after the Sybil filtering, and it was very interesting for us to see like what you guys said. And we always like, even if you don't see us, like we're reading like every comments everywhere. Like we always like, there is a lot of Linea team members, and like for the broader like consensus team, we're out on Twitter. We're trying as well, like same as you, like, right, making this ecosystem, like the entire Ethereum ecosystem, a big thing, right? So yeah, very happy to do that with you.
And make sure that you send at 3 a.m. Gwen some ask for testnet ETH, and he will be able to respond. So
maybe I will code the script, right? If I have to do that, like 2 or 3 times in a row, I will code the script to send.
Your agent.
Yeah, an agent.
Yeah, I think actually in our Discord, you can actually auto use the faucet, or something. We need to kind of
there is the info faucet as
but
well,
that's one
which is working. I'm monitoring it to be sure if there is any problem with the faucet, you ping me, and I have access to ping the team to fix it, right? So
Yes, I think that's the most important part, right? Like we are trying to be very accessible, so feel free to ping us in all the channels. And I think that's the most important part. So I think thank you so much, and as you say, thank you for the community to listen to us today for those updates and kind of like shouting out what the community and the partners are doing. But also thanks so much for everyone that was on the background coordinating all this, answering all the questions in the comments. I think that's a huge work that is done by the team here. Awesome. Sounds good. Thank you so much, everyone. And I see you probably next month, Gwen, or even before. And for anybody that will come to Denver, shout out and register for Build the Night and come say hi.
Thank you.
Cheers, everyone.